You'd think that meeting Jesus face to face, as I did 6 years back, would give you a leg up on the Christian life. I'm still not sure why Jesus chose me to dine with him one night at Milano's Italian restaurant in Cincinnati. Maybe God knew that my resistance to him was a mile wide and an inch deep. I was 33, outwardly successful, with a beautiful wife and 2-year-old daughter. Behind the veneer, our marriage was in shambles. I doubted myself as a parent, and I wondered where in the world anyone could find the secret to life. I received an anonymous invitation to dine with Jesus. Surely a prank by the guys at work. So I showed them. I arrived at Milano's and sat down to eat my free meal, across from a guy who claimed to be Jesus. Only thing, it actually was Jesus, patiently answering my questions, waiting for me to set aside my relentless skepticism and open my heart to the reality of a God who loved me and who died and rose to save me. The encounter transformed my life. In the span of one evening, I traversed the chasm between cynical agnosticism and faith in God. 3 weeks later, my wife, Maddie, had a similar encounter with Jesus on an airplane. Except Jesus didn't identify himself to her. He just let her figure it out. Ever since those encounters, we've been followers of Jesus. For 2 years afterward, life was great. How could it not be? I had met Jesus. He had explained everything. Well, not everything, but a lot of things. Life made sense. It had a purpose. I was full of joy, peace, and all that. But I slowly lost it, whatever it was. My closeness to God, my excitement about Jesus, the sense of purpose and meaning he brought. I'm not sure when it started fading. I hadn't lost my faith, far from it. But the life that faith was supposed to produce, where was it? I thought meeting Jesus would energize me for a lifetime. But for the past 4 years, I'd been slowly coasting downhill. The distressing thing was I'd been doing all the right things to be a good Christian. After our Jesus encounters, Maddie and I decided to join a church. Wasn't that what Christians did? Naive as we were, we chose the closest one, a nice mid-sized suburban church. The preacher talked too long. A quarter of the people had their eyes closed, and I'm pretty sure they weren't praying. And the worship band played songs that didn't exactly make me feel worshipful. Admittedly, meeting Jesus himself may have jaded me. I constantly found myself thinking things like, Jesus wouldn't go for this song. Fortunately, the church had plenty to offer besides Sunday services. Maddie and I joined a home group. If any place offered an authentic experience of Jesus, beyond what we had already experienced, of course, it would be a small group dedicated to that purpose. After all, that's what the 12 disciples were, a small group experiencing Jesus together. Our first evening there, the leader invited us to tell the group a little about ourselves. I was happy to oblige. I became a Christian 5 years ago when I had dinner with Jesus at Milano's. Maddie sat next to Jesus 3 weeks later on the flight to Tucson. I turned toward her. You two even ran into each other during a layover in Dallas, didn't you? At Starbucks, Maddie chimed in. It was the weirdest thing. This guy sitting next to me on these flights. Have any of you... Her speech slowed. Actually met Jesus like that? Apparently not. The group stared at us as if we were from another planet. We found a new church, vowing never to mention our Jesus encounters again. Not to Christians, at least. Our second church was smaller, a bit more diverse. We joined another home group and, through our silence, felt welcomed. Unfortunately, this group seemed more intent on addressing felt needs than on actually experiencing Jesus. One night, after watching our second video series on parenting, following a series on marriage and family finances, I remarked to Maddie, if people were walking closely with God, wouldn't some of these issues take care of themselves? I joined a men's discipleship group, but I encountered the same problem I felt everywhere. I didn't fit in. Men in the group were constantly sharing opinions about God that contradicted what I had personally experienced with Jesus at Milano's. When I said things like, "I know Jesus wouldn't see things that way," they looked at me like I was nuts. Who was this guy, a new Christian, to presume to know what Jesus would and wouldn't think? The last straw for me was an exchange with the group leader. He was teaching about John 15, Jesus' message on the vine and the branches. "The key to living the Christian life is abiding in Christ," he declared. "And how do we do that?" I asked. Jesus must have forgotten those instructions in our time at the restaurant because I didn't have a clue. I was always the one asking, "What does that mean exactly?" when it came to spiritual platitudes that, I discovered, were tossed around churches like beanbags at a school carnival. "We abide by keeping Jesus' commandments," he responded. I pondered that assertion. "So you're saying that to live the way we should, we abide, and to abide we have to live the way we should?" The leader smiled patronizingly. "It's just one of the mysteries of the faith." It wasn't a mystery of the faith at all. It was circular reasoning. I left the men's group, redoubling my efforts to draw near to God on my own. After meeting Jesus, spending time with God had been easy. I knew he was right there with me, just as Jesus had been at our dinner. I could sense him speaking to me directly from the Bible. After a time, however, that sense disappeared. God seemed distant. I got distracted by life. Paying the mortgage and attending kids' events took precedence over being alone with God.